Hey everybody, welcome to Real Raw Health with your host Nikki Burnett of Taste Life Nutrition and Matt Rowe of Parsley Pet. During our show, we are talking about your pet's health, raw feeding, and the health our pets bring to us with love. And a little human health as well, because Nikki and I we can't not cross that topic. So welcome Nikki to this week's show. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the human side of it's sort of in our blood, and well, I guess the dog side is too. So it's part of it.
You really paired to just anybody we love.
Yeah.
And dogs and the whole bit is just all about because nutrition, because we're biological beings, dog or human, we're affected by what we eat. We're affected by the nutrients we put in our body and the energy we give ourselves. So that's why, how could we not talk about humans?
I know. Hey, Matt, let me make a quick comment. Before the show, I could really hear you. You're really quiet now. And I don't know if it's yeah.
So this happened to me earlier this week. So let me see what I can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you talk and I'm going to get out of your way. And the topic that we have today, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, no, it's good now. Much better.
Okay, it's good now. So the topic we have today that we're talking about is kennel cough dangerous and should I vaccinate for kennel cough?
Yeah.
So tell me, Nikki, is it dangerous?
The vaccination is going to be much more dangerous than the kennel cough itself. So in a nutshell, we can end the show. No, that's not true. But it's what is true is that the vaccine is more dangerous than the kennel cough itself. And so there are things that, for one, what we need to understand is what kennel cough is. It's a bacterial infection, and usually when a dog gets kennel cough, it's because there's some other virus, there's some other issue that's creating a burden on the immune system, and the dog can't essentially get rid of, or what's my word? It's unable to. It just catches a cold. Sorry, that's just my words are working for me. But basically, kennel cough is a cold. It's a chest cold. It's a little respiratory infection. There are a number of types of different organisms, bacteria that can create kennel cough. And so it sounds awful. It sounds terrible, but it's just a cold. We don't go and run and get a vaccination or, go crazy because we have a cold, but that's what we're doing for our dogs. And we're just trying to prevent a cold when really there's virtually no good data showing that the vaccines work anyway. There are too many organisms and the vaccine hits like one of them. And so the only reason why Bordetella or kennel cough vaccine is required through, boarding and, doggy daycare and that kind of thing, strictly to cover their ass, the boarding or the doggy daycare's ass. That's it. It doesn't work. Your dog can still get kennel cough. It can still catch a cold, which is all it is. Speaking of colds.
You mean like the cold that I got?
Exactly.
So really, I wouldn't have vaccinated for this cold.
No.
But know that it's just really just a series of some medicine that I take, and I take everything homeopathic, but some other things that I do that start to squelch the virus that's in my body.
Yeah, you support your immune system. And that's what you do with the dogs. You support their immune system. And if you think they have a strong immune system, they get kennel cough. So they do. We all catch a cold. And it's fine. I'm pretty sure when we brought Daisy home, she had kennel cough and gave it to Sage. Maybe Chili got it, and then it went away. I was never concerned about it. I never took him to the vet. I let him live through it because that's what we all do. And in the end, could it potentially build our immune system and make it that much stronger? Maybe, because then it recognizes it. Right.
Creates the antibodies for it.
Yeah.
So, because I know Mr. Chacha, when we brought him home from the rescue, he had kennel cough. And so I had to give him breathing treatments. So they actually gave me some stuff to give him breathing treatments that he breathed in for like 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of a week and a half. It was gone. It was out of his system, has never received it again.
Yeah. And I think that some dogs, so it is something that you want to be aware of. No matter what, no matter what the symptoms are, if symptoms progress, watch them. But once they have kennel cough, you can't go vaccinate them. That's certainly not going to do anything for them.
Right.
Obviously, you watch them, you know, with your cold that you have now, if things start to move deeper in the chest, if you start to get to where you are uncomfortable, then you say, okay, there's probably a little more I should do about this. And so, yeah, if you need breathing treatments, if you need accelerated, you know, therapeutics, whatever it might be, then so be it. But you don't vaccinate. I don't mean to be repetitive, but you don't vaccinate for a cold. Nobody ever has. We don't have vaccinations for a cold, but we do for dogs. Why? It makes zero sense.
It's money. And so, you know, I think a lot of these pharmaceutical companies are trying to sell, you know, what they can to a pet parent, when we know from testing, this is increasing their mercury levels. And if they say there's not mercury in vaccines, I'm going to push back on you and say that's not what we see in our HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis testing. Yes, they are receiving a high amount of vaccines. And for dogs that do have a high level of mercury, when we ask on our intake form, how often do they receive vaccines? And we typically see that number on a high ratio. So they're receiving yearly vaccines. And so the body really is starting to become toxic with heavy metals and all of this stuff. So yeah, I think in the long run, we are causing more damage than good because we do them at such a heavy rate. So when we look at a lot of these things, you know, things where if you want to, you know, keep away from vaccines is titer testing. So this is something that you can actually test the antibodies within their system. But what you're saying, let's get back to kennel cough. So kennel cough, what it's going to show, I know for Mr. Chacha, you would just sound like he was hacky.
Yeah.
You would sit there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of a, there's some people describe it as kind of a honk, you know, it's that, I don't know, maybe it's sort of a, you know, how we have that croupy sound sometimes when we cough. It's a little bit like that. It doesn't look pretty. They may spit up a little bit. It's not fun. Nobody likes to cough their, you know, their little head off, but it happens.
Right.
It happens a lot. It's not going to kill them. In most cases, I will never say never. You know, if you have a compromised animal, just as we, you know, we're looking at COVID. If we have a compromised immune system, COVID's probably going to take a pretty good hold of us. If an animal has a compromised immune system, which is probably why it got kennel cough in the first place, then you just want to be aware. Again, you can't backtrack and then give the vaccine. The vaccine is going to be more damaging than the kennel cough in most cases in the first place. But then you want to give immune support. Maybe you consider mushrooms. Maybe you do need to take the dog to the vet for extra support. But you want to start to think, why did they get kennel cough? Is there another virus that's creating this burden? And then what can I do to eliminate that virus? And what can I do to support the immune system? Because really that's what it's all about, is supporting the immune system. Yeah. How do we support the immune system? We get rid of kibble, right? We feed real food, we feed raw food. Yeah. And then we can support with supplements. We can support with medicinal mushrooms. I give my dogs medicinal mushrooms. You know, we can, you know, give them probiotics. We can feed them, you know, some prebiotics. We can give them fermented foods. Exercise, not a bunch of stress, you know, sunshine, all of these things are going to support their immune system.
The body wants to remain in homeostasis is what I'm hearing you say is, and because of that, their body's going to want to naturally heal itself, and their immune systems can do this. But if we're feeding a high kibble-based diet, then we're just increasing inflammation and sugar load inside of their body. So their body really is not only fighting the inflammation, their immune system fighting the inflammation within their guts and around the cells of their body, then also they have, let's say, kennel cough comes into the stream, and now they're fighting two things. And so we're making it harder for them to actually win based upon how we're feeding them. So what you had mentioned in regards to, so if, for example, God forbid, Leo gets kennel cough and he starts at croupy, what type of regimen would you start Leo on?
So I have a little list here. And as if anybody who listens to the show, we love Dr. Karen Becker, and this is her list
Yes.
that she put together. But there's some good remedies, just like we have good natural remedies for the common cold. There are some good remedies for kennel cough, and so there's a list of 9 things here.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
I'll kind of run through them. You don't have to do all 9 of them, but I think it's a pretty good list of things to consider. So there are the no-sodes, which are the homeopathic, the little homeopathic pellets, which can be good.
Yep.
She doesn't give this a particular kind because there are a lot of different homeopathics. I would assume that you can just find one that supports the immune system. What?
And if you look at the Parsley Pet channel, Dr. Judy and I did a show on no-sodes, let's say a month ago. So definitely take a look at our video feeds, and there was one on no-sodes on there. So yes, there it sounded like there were a few different types.
Yeah.
And so no-sodes, I'd never heard of them before. Now I'm aware, and now I'm a believer.
Yeah. Homeopathics are cool stuff. I don't truly understand them. I'm not a homeopath. But they are interesting, and they work well.
Yeah.
There's one that's called Isberatox. I've never used this. I've heard of it. I've never used it, but it's a fast acting echinacea. Have you heard of it?
Okay. No, I've not.
So it's effective in reducing the virulence of Bordetella infections. Okay.
Does it work for the common cold?
I bet it would.
I'm kidding.
I bet it would.
I'm gonna go to Natural Grocers tonight and be like, so do you guys have Veritox?
And to be clear, it starts with an E. Esberitox. Esberatox.
Esberitox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe what I'll do is post this link in the comments below, or list or something when we finish.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah. So vitamin C and vitamin E, just like with us, right? So C is important. It's an antiviral, it's an antioxidant. C is important because it helps to recycle other antioxidants, and E is just really good immune support. One of the things that I have to throw in, because this is really, really important, is if you just go get a vitamin E, there are natural forms, there are synthetic forms. If you look at it, so vitamin E, there are different types. They're called tocopherols.
Yep.
And if you look and you see a D dash L tocopherol, that L means it's synthetic. Stay far, far away from it.
Wow.
So it might be D tocopherol, D dash tocopherol, that's fine. D dash L tocopherol is synthetic, and you'll see it in human supplements. You'll see it everywhere. I can't help but to give, I'm going to. This is an example of how bad it is, okay? And this is going to be a human study, but back, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, however long it was, there's a study done on heart patients. And this is in the medical field doing this study. They wanted to test the efficacy of vitamin E on heart patients because it's been touted and promoted as a supporting heart healthy vitamin, right? So they tested it and they found that it was actually causing more harm. Well, the supplement that they were using was the DL tocopherol. They were using the synthetic form of tocopherol for these patients.
Okay.
So that is just an example of how damaging synthetics can be.
Did they do the same study with a non-synthetic form of E?
I don't know, not as well. I feel like at this point they probably had to. But I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But it was interesting because this is early on in my career in pharmaceutical devices, and this guy was asking me about it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why that would be the case. And then it wasn't too much after that I realized that was the form that they used.
Yep.
Which is a problem. And why they would do that, I have no idea. Probably because it's cheaper. I don't know. Yeah.
It's got to be cheaper. And it's just, you're talking about bioavailability. Naturally forming vitamin E, your body knows what it is and it knows what to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, oregano oil. So, right, oregano oil is amazing. So if you have essential oils, don't just go any essential oil from even a Whole Foods, Vitamin Cottage. You got to get good quality. The only two that I know of that I think there are more, the two that I know are the good quality are going to be doTERRA and shoot, I forgot the other one. I'll think about it. But those are the two that are good. And they're the multi-level marketing thing, which I'm not all about. But I mean, that's one that they're good products. And if you're going to use them, you want to know that they're going to be beneficial. So oregano oil, do not put oregano oil straight on their tongue. It will burn the tar out of them. It's really hot. So you have to put it in a capsule. You have to be really careful about what you do with it, or give it to them already in a capsule, because you don't want to burn them. It's really uncomfortable. Let's see. Astragalus is a Chinese herb, so it's good for immune support. You probably have heard of astragalus if you have done immune supportive supplements. Raw garlic. How often do we hear that garlic is bad for dogs?
Oh, it's on the list.
Yeah, we hear it all the time. Garlic is not bad for dogs. Now, I don't know that I would give them a whole, thing of 12 cloves all at one time, but I give it to my dogs periodically. It's cancer preventive. It's natural antiviral, antibacterial, and then of course olive leaf is good. Raw honey is just good stuff. Period. Really good for building the microbiome. It can soothe their throat if they are coughing, so we want to do that because it's uncomfortable. We don't want them to be uncomfortable.
No.
Other essential oils: eucalyptus, lavender, tea tree, chamomile is calming. So all of these help them breathe better. So if you want to diffuse them in the air, can help your pup. And then slippery elm can help with the sore throat and irritated throats and that kind of thing. So really, these are all things we would do for us.
And you can transfer it right over to your dog and have it actually have the same effects of going after it from that standpoint. So really kind of coming after, and like you said, you don't have to do them all, but coming up with a strategy for yourself that works for you. What's around the house? What do you have available? And I'm really glad you said about not putting oregano oil on their tongue, because yes, it definitely can lead to burning, because it's very, very hot. I'm familiar with it. When I put it on my skin, yes, I can feel it, like it is there.
It's intense.
With administering this, for like chamomile tea, do you just make up a little bit of tea, cool it down, and then put it in a bowl?
I think so. I've not actually done that. I've used supplements that have chamomile in it that are calming. But yeah, I think that would be totally fine. If you have some just like you would make yours, heat it, steep it, cool it. Obviously, the dog's not going to sip on it. But then just let them drink a little bit, drink what they want. Will they? We know they'll drink water. Will they drink tea? Maybe. I don't know.
Something different.
So could be that maybe it's a little bit better in a supplement form, but whatever works. And there's going to be a lot of information out there on the best ways to utilize natural herbs and things for our dogs. Again, Dr. Karen Becker, she's got so much information out there about a lot of these things. She's pretty amazing. And I'm sure there are a couple others that you've taught me about. I can't remember their names now, that would be really good for that as well. Who's the one? I don't know. Who else would you go to online?
Dr. Karen Becker is my first and foremost that I would go after it. But Rodney Habib has got some really good resources as well, but I know he works closely with Dr. Becker. Most likely is really just typing in a Google search and looking at the source of information, making sure that it's independent. So the person that's going to put that out there is not from, like, let's say Purina or Big Pharma, are not pushing a specific product as well. So when I do my research, I really want to make sure that it's independent sources of information from non-biased. So they aren't selling a product. They're not out there just really trying to push their wares. They're really starting to take a look at it and say, okay, this is what we have seen that helps, and something that you trust as well when you go into there. But what we're saying is that if your dog has kennel cough, there are ways to support your dog so they can get through the kennel cough moment or get through that situation. You can have it to where their life is a little bit more, my brain is all fogged up, but it's easier for them. It's easier for them to get through this illness or to get through this sickness. I don't think it's anything to panic, but definitely keep an eye out for their mood, how they're acting, that type of stuff. And if they are seeing some situations, go to a good holistic vet, go to a naturopathic vet that's going to walk you through different ways to treat. As you know, if you go to your vet that's trained with, conventional medicine, they're going to go right to the drug, and they're going to go to the breathing treatments. They're going to do what they did for Mr. Cha-Cha, my dog, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't wiser at it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, just make it go away. And we panicked when we picked up Mr. Cha-Cha. Always got kennel cough, and we had to jump on it right away. But instead, there were other things that we could have done to help boost his immune system, feeding raw, and then going through this list that you have just helped us with.
Yeah. So I think that there's something that I'd like to address too, because, we can't, and we don't assume that, people don't need to take their dog to doggy daycare. They're like kids. Sometimes they have to go to doggy daycare. Sometimes they have to be boarded, or, we have to travel, and the dogs need their vaccinations because of liability purposes only and ridiculous regulations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what it's important to understand is there's the vaccination, but there's also these nasal drops that can be done. In the nasal, the vaccine is very toxic. So if you do have to get a vaccine, which you should be able to choose between the two, you want to make sure that you have you know how to support their liver, their detoxification systems after the vaccine, so they can detoxify all of the junk that was in the vaccine.
Yeah.
But if you do the nose spray, which is the same thing, it's much less toxic. There are very few reactions to it. You can then say they've been essentially vaccinated, and then you're okay with then, by the guidelines of wherever you're taking them, you're then okay.
Right.
Doesn't mean though that your dog's not going to get kennel cough. It's just abiding by the guidelines that are mandated upon you if you want to, do these things with your dog. So I think that's important to understand, that you can do this. There is an option, which is really nice, because there's not a lot of options with, other vaccines.
Yep.
So that's a good one.
No, and I think that's awesome. I mean, especially when we're stepping into times that we are going to board our dogs. I mean, they had said that 47% of Americans are going to go visit family over Thanksgiving, no matter how much it's locked down. And that we look at, and then you look at it from that standpoint, there are options for you. So you don't have to just give the quick vaccine, give the nose drops, help them out with their immune system, help support them so they live a longer, healthier life.
Yeah. And also for those who are able to do it for, whatever reason, this is what we do in our home, is we bring somebody in the house instead of taking them off to be boarded somewhere, which really would be good too. It frustrates me a bit that I can't get my dog to some of these doggy daycares because I don't vaccinate my dogs. Because it would be good for them to have more of that interaction on a regular basis. And so, I would like to do that, but because I don't vaccinate and because of the ridiculous regulations, we bring somebody here in the home, and they're not stressed, and they like their home anyway. They've got a good backyard. So, so for those who want that option too, that's always a good option. And it's, you can find some people who will do that, who you can trust, who are pretty inexpensive.
Well, and I found that it's actually cheaper to have somebody come into my house to look after two dogs. More than one dog, and have somebody come into the house is cheaper than boarding them.
Yeah.
So and like you said, it's safer, it's less stress, less chance of illness. You don't have to vaccinate too much in regards to meeting their regulations. So there's a lot of things you can do to help protect your dog. So Nikki, this has been eye-opening and just really some awesome stuff, that there's no reason to panic if your dog has kennel cough.
Yes, absolutely true.
Yeah. So, Nikki, what's the best way somebody can get a hold of you to know more about what you do?
Yeah. So Taste Life Nutrition is the website and all the social media. And reach out. I have, I see humans. That's sort of my main business. But then, the dog thing, I love working with people and their pets. So that's an easy and fun one for me. I will say, if you followed this at all, you know that I've been, working up to launching a course. It's officially launching. Like
Boom.
the big course, not just a challenge, but the course itself is officially
When?
launched. Essentially today. I mean, I've
It
started.
launches today. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are now working through getting the emails out. So what we're doing, I have to tell you what we're doing is I'm sending out, all of the marketing that I can myself and then having others help me. But we're doing a special from now through Cyber Monday. And so we might extend it through the holidays. We haven't decided that yet, but essentially we're giving the course at half off. And so the course,
Awesome.
12-week course, so comprehensive. So it's mindset, it's movement, it's cognitive health, it's nutrition. It moves you through day by day by day, and it molds around your needs, not everybody else's. So it's $3.99. What we're doing also for the first 10 people who sign up, and maybe more, it depends on the response. But if we get more than that, then, if we get lots of people, we're going to gift a course to one of our community heroes, or, could be anywhere in the country, but, military,
awesome.
Veterans, teachers, and first responders, because they all need to be healthy, right?
So this goes for the first 10 people that sign up.
Yeah. And
you are going to give this course away to a first responder that needs additional support and help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're going to do that. And a couple other things. You can purchase these as gifts. You don't have to start them at any point. You don't have to start them when you purchase them. So, right now is not the ideal time to go, hey, I'm going to cut out sugar and do all of these things because it's the holiday, right? But you can purchase it now at the reduced cost. You can start it at the beginning of the year. You can start it whenever you want to start it. And I mean, and it's yours. It's something that you can keep. You can do year after year after year just to kind of keep in check. So yeah, we're super stoked about it.
What a better gift than to give somebody the gift of health. Like really, like get through the season, get through the holidays, and come join me together and do it together as, you and your friends that go and really try to, one of the things that is when I started to walk this path and do some of this type of stuff, I didn't know how good I could feel. I didn't realize that I didn't feel good for all these years. I just dealt with it. And I thought it was the normal. And then when I started to work on this stuff, I was like, oh, I want to feel like this, not this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much better. So I love that you do this. I'm ecstatic. So today it launches Cyber Monday deal. So it starts today. You can go on and get it for half price.
Yeah.
And really give that gift of health to somebody else as well. And give it to a first responder that's out there. Is what their Taste Life Nutrition is going to do, is give it to a first responder that needs that additional support.
Yeah.
So awesome. Oh man, I am so proud of everything you're doing.
Thank you. So you can go to the website. That's probably the easiest place to go. Is I have a link to it on my website. Actually, I don't even know what it says yet, but it should we call it the Be Epic course. It's a 12-week course of self-discovery is really what it is. We call it Be Epic.
And if you're watching, right below right now is on the actual title, you'll see a link for tastelifenutrition.com. Click on that and take next steps on this course. I couldn't be more excited for everything Nikki does and all the wisdom that she has in regards to our health and improving it every day.
Thank you. You know what? I'll post a link also to the landing page below as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nikki, so much for everything. And you can always take a look at us at parsleypet.com. The link is below as well. And get your dog nutritionally tested. Make sure that they are receiving the right nutrition to receive ultimate immune health, so that you don't have to deal with some of these illnesses that are preventable by having proper nutrition. So thank you so much, Nikki, for being a part of this with me today. And thanks for your wisdom.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. We'll see everybody. Have an
guys.
amazing Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great Thanksgiving. Awesome.